Evening VC, it's Steve here. It's comes to the end of the weekend, and it's time to give you an update on my purchases. I've got quite a few, so there's probably going to be quite a lot of few videos pinging between now and the next couple of weeks. I've been rather busy on on the purchases front, so it's good. I've got some good purchases. Well, I consider to be good. So hopefully you will be able to you'll enjoy them, and feel free to comment on what I've brought. So without further ado, the first record I'm going to show you, I managed to pick up a copy of Let There Be Rock by AC/DC, the band's third album in the UK. I'm pleased I picked this up because as well as having the normal the good stuff such as the title track Let There Be Rock, Whole Lot of Rosie, Bad Boy Boogie. This copy is an original 77 which has Crapsody in Blue. When they reissued the record on CD, for some reason that track got dropped and replaced with Problem Child from the Dirty D's Done Cheap album. Why? I don't know. I suspect it's something to do with that song's content, a bit of an ode to venereal disease, which might not be to everybody's taste. This album, I think, started to, particularly for in the UK, brought AC/DC through. They based themselves here from around '76 and really started gigging hard in the UK in order to break themselves. They wanted to get out of just being an Australian band. They wanted worldwide recognition, and I think this album really is the start of the turning point for them, where I think they were starting to get record sales and the gigs were getting bigger. And it culminated 2 years later with the release of If You Want Blood, You've Got It, the live album, mostly recorded, I believe, in Glasgow, which is a bit of a spiritual home, as both the young family, both Malcolm and Angus were born in Glasgow, and Bon Scott was born in Scotland as well. So the Scottish roots do run deep with the band. Um, at the free live albums, I think all the live albums, I think it's free. The live bit on Bonfire box set. This is the best one by far. It captures the band perfectly, especially in the Bon Scott era. I think, as a frontman, there weren't many better than him, in my opinion. Yeah, it contains Rock and Roll Damnation, which was the breakthrough single in the UK for the band, and probably the definitive version of Whole Lot of Rosie for everybody. With the crowd chanting Angus, Angus at the start. This was at the time represented the last album to be produced by Vanda and Young, from Highway to Hell saw them change producers to Robert John McLang, which sort of smoothed the sound out a little bit. AC/DC obviously just finished their last tour, and Cliff Williams has announced his retirement. Given that the band has sort of dropping, Paul Malcolm with his dementia, Phil Rudd with his problems, and Brian Johnson with his hearing, now Cliff's retired, I think maybe it's time now for the band to just call it a day. And let's everybody remember them for what they were, the great band that they are, the great albums. Back in Black is my all-time favourite album. I've got a mug at work with Black in Black on it, so that's how much I think of that album. AC/DC, great band. Next album I picked up is Bebop Deluxe, Drastic Plastic. This is the band's final studio album before they broke up. I got into this band a couple of years ago, and this is through listening to Joe Elliott of Def Leppard. He has a radio show on Planet Rock's radio station. It's an hour weekly show where he plays basically his record collection. Lots of Bowie, playing Joe Bariah, Heavy Metal Kids, as well as the normal rock stuff. And it was him that sort of turned me on to Bebop Deluxe. I picked up the Air Age Anthology CD. not long after, and I just really got myself going into it. I'd heard the name before, and I knew this made single, Ships in the Night. Um, but oh man, what a great band! I mean, Bill Nelson, one of our underrated figures in the UK. He, after Bebop Deluxe split up, he went and formed Red Noise and became a respected producer, notably the Skids. He produced their Days in Europa album, which is an absolute corker of an album of new post punk. The album on the Harvest label, which sort of highlights the progressive roots of the band. Yeah, if you haven't heard any Bebop Deluxe, I do recommend you check them out. Band from Birmingham, The Beat, and their compilation What Is Beat. They came out of the two-tone explosion, which happened in late '79. They signed to Two-Tone, released Tears of a Clown, their first single, which was a hit. From there, they were signed by Arista Records, and who set up their own Go Feet label. Probably one of the first times I heard songs that were politically aware. They were one of the first bands to criticise Margaret Thatcher in the song "Stand Down Margaret." It was a B-side to their single "Best Friend." And the short, brief career, produced some good singles, sort of dipped off a bit, had a bit of a renaissance with their version of Andy Williams' Can't Stand Get Need to read that. Can't Get Used to Losing You. I knew I'd trip up on that. And they split up. Dave Wakeley and Rankin Roger formed General Public, and a couple of us formed. I think David Steele. I can never remember the guitarist's name. Let's see if it's in here somewhere. No, it isn't. They went off and formed Fine Young Cannibals, who went on to have major success. There's two versions of the band now floating around. You've got Rankin Rogers, The Beat, and I think Dave Wakeley's got the English Beat. Both have been touring in the UK, so if you get a chance to catch them. It's worth checking them out. I'm so pleased I got this for £1. Beatles 1967 to 1970 goes with the 1962 to 1966, which again I picked up for £1. Reason, sleeve's a bit worn. There's not much I can say about the Beatles. The influence on world popular music, I mean, it can't be understated. Their reach broad and wide. I think because they pushed the boundaries, they've took the rock roots, and they learnt. I think they were cute enough to learn from George Martin, and who allowed them to develop. I think you gotta have a little bit of luck, and I think the luck was they had George Martin to help them. It's just a great album. There's no duff tracks on there, so I think if you haven't got it, go out and get it. Another legend, David Bowie, Heroes. Again, I picked this up for £1. I'm quite lucky with that. Second of his Berlin trilogy. What can you say? He was still mourning the loss. In fact, I did say to someone at work the day David Bowie died, I hadn't felt as sad as this since my mum died. And I know it might sound a bit of a crap thing to say, but it was. It just felt like the world had just fallen from my feet. And I remember as a young boy, watching him perform Starman with the Spiders on Top of the Pops in 1972. I am that old, and it just felt sad. It just felt a major piece of my life had been taken away. But after a period of mourning, I just recently felt the urge to start listening to Bowie again, and just picked this up, and I'm happy. I'm happy. It's got the title track. It says it all. We Can Be Heroes. I suspect I'll probably choose that to be played at my funeral, which hopefully will be a long time away. Spike by Elvis Costello. Everyone should read that. Yeah, released in 1989. This album, released on Warner Brothers. He started collaborating. Costello started collaborating with Paul McCartney. My Brave Face appeared in Flowers in the Dirt, and Veronica on here was another piece of their collaboration, and it's good. I wouldn't consider it to be Costello's best, but I think the best well-known track was "Tramp the Dirt Down." I mentioned in the beat about a protest song about Margaret Thatcher. This is another one. She was considered to be Marmite in the UK. You either loved her or hated her. I didn't particularly much care for her on this song. Elvis Costello didn't. And what gives that song more kudos, I think, it's not a rant. It's not a loud rant. It's just a softly sung song. And he deliberately points out, you hear the lyrics, and it's these frustrations of what's going on and how she appeared to let the country drift, how she divided the country. It wasn't no surprise that people were dancing in the streets when she died. Wrong, I believe, but it did happen. A couple more to show you. This next one is one of my major surprises. This again I picked up for £1. Golden Earrings Moon Tan album. Now I picked this up primarily because it's got Radar Love on it, which is really the only song I know from Golden Earring. So it's a short album. It's only got 5 tracks. It came out on the MCA label. This is might be an American copy. It's not the original copy. This is a reissue. The original copy had a burlesque dancer on the cover in all her glory. I just love this album. I said it's only 5 tracks long, but there's quality there, and it makes me want to check some more out. And sometimes I think you get a bit sidetracked by just the fact that they know the one song. And I know Golden Earring have been going for years. They started in the 60s and they just developed their sound. So yeah, again, an album that I really enjoyed. Again, just £1. And then finally, in this section, this is Steve Hackett's debut solo album, Voyage of the Acolyte. Released in 1975 on the famous Charisma label. I think it's maybe the pink. Yep, it's the pink. Sometimes some of the Charisma stuff appeared in different colours. Recorded really in the gap between Peter Gabriel leaving the band and recording The Trick of the Tail. Sort of had time on his hands. And it's very much at times a Genesis album. Mike Rutherford and Phil Collins appear on it on some of the tracks. Sally Oldfield also sings, and Mike's sister, his brother John turns up with playing the flute and synthesizer. I quite enjoyed it. I think kudos again has to go out to Steve Hackett. He keeps the flame flying for the early Genesis. Particularly if the band's not playing anymore, as well as his solo stuff. He'll do gigs with performing the early Genesis stuff, the stuff he appeared on. So it's really enjoyable. I enjoyed this album. Again, it makes me want to check out some more Steve Hackett. I think the Bank Pirates is going to take a bit of a hammering. Well, actually, it has. And I've got so many things to show you, but I don't want to do long videos because people lose their interest. I know I do. When somebody goes on about 25 minutes, it's sometimes I think, oh, crikey, I've got better things to do. But all in all, this was good first part, it's fine. And these were from my local record store, Psychotronic. And he has these crates outside, so I always have a whisk through just to see what there is. And I think plans to go in and buy a couple of better albums, but the temptation to go for the pound bins, it just overtakes me. So that's it. I'd gladly receive your comments. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So until the next video, look after yourselves, keep listening to music, keep smiling.